So there's a lot of hate against villagers in Werewolf. It's like, oh no, I got a villager. But it's not that bad, okay? I will convince you that being a villager is actually a good role as well. I'm going to start with the simple reasons, and then we're going to go down to the more advanced things. Because I think the problem is, a lot of people, especially when they've not played many social deduction games, is they go, oh, I'm a villager, I can't do anything. Because at night, the villager doesn't wake up, right? But you got to think about this. You actually got more, like, as the game progresses, you have more information, even than people with special roles, right? Because in Werewolf, often the special roles get confirmed, right? Quite quickly. Because there can only be one, and then when somebody says, I'm the seer and I think they're the werewolf, either somebody else is going to say, I'm the seer, or they're not. If nobody else says I'm the seer, you know in Werewolf that the seer is in play, so you can confirm, okay, they are a good player. And so you can imagine all the special roles will be doing that same thing. So when a special role is confirmed, as in nobody else counterclaims them, you know that they're telling the truth. And that's one more player that you can trust, right? You can trust that what they're saying is not nonsense. Now, there are some edge cases where maybe the seer doesn't come out and then you're going to have to deal with that later. But in general, in most games, that's how it happens. The seer comes out, or the bodyguard usually doesn't come out, but if they were, the bodyguard comes out, and nobody else says anything. Especially if you like wrote somebody up and then they say, I'm the bodyguard. That's usually what happens. And if nobody else says, I'm the bodyguard, you know for sure they're good. And worst case, you kill them both, right? Because at the end of the day, bodyguard doesn't matter that much. Second reason, you have all the bandwidth, okay? You got all the mental bandwidth. You don't need to think about, oh, who should I check, or who should I protect, who are the werewolves be killing? No, your entire brain can just be focused on watching the other players. So you have the full brain space to just keep track of who voted for who, and when they voted and why they voted. Because voting patterns tell you a lot about who the werewolves are. If somebody is like, if there's two people, one of them's a werewolf, that's what the group thinks, then watch who votes for who, and then see if somebody switches like quite abruptly, if you know what I mean. So it's not like no evidence came out, it's more like, oh, the majority is going to vote out my other werewolf, so I should change my vote to not look suspicious. That's how it happens most of the time. So you need to watch for people who are pushing for someone else or voting actively for someone else, but then when the tide shifts and the majority think for no actual reason that it's the other person, see if they switch up on that. That's one way to catch out werewolves. And especially if you're playing with werewolves being revealed after they die, right? If werewolves are revealed and they reveal that that's a werewolf, and you've noticed somebody's been voting not for them for a while, even if they were under suspicion, then put them in your maybe werewolf category. And you got all the mental bandwidth to do this, because you don't need to think about, oh, I checked this person, or oh, the werewolves are going to kill this person. Should I kill? Should I heal if you're the witch? No, you got all the bandwidth to just focus on that exclusively. And finally, you can do the great tactic, which I really love doing, which you can't really do when you're a special role in Werewolf, because it does risk you getting voted out. But as a villager, right, it doesn't really matter because you don't have a special role, and you want the town to win. You don't necessarily need to live to the end of the game, right? So you can randomly accuse people all you want. You can say, I think you're the werewolf because you are suspicious. Now that's not a real reason, right? But see who jumps onto that, who goes, oh yeah, actually, I think they are suspicious. And then especially if you do end up voting them out and they turn out not to be a werewolf, then you know that the first person to back you is probably a werewolf. Now, an even better way to do this would be to pick somebody who you really think is not a werewolf. So, okay, like you just know from like playing past games with them, okay, they're probably not a werewolf. So then accuse them, say, you're suspicious, you don't talk that much. It doesn't matter if they talked. It doesn't matter how much they talk. Say, you're suspicious, you haven't talked very much. And see who jumps onto that. Because especially, actually, this is a funny thing you could do. Pick somebody who talks a mid amount, who like talks a like mid-level amount, and then say, you're not talking, so you're the werewolf. And then see who agrees with you and says, oh yeah, they're not talking much, because that's usually the other werewolf. Or not the other werewolf, but like a werewolf backing you because they want to vote somebody out who is part of the villager team. So I hope that convinced you that being a villager is not the end of the world. Put villagers in your werewolf games, because werewolf is not balanced around there being no villagers. I have played games where nobody wants to be a villager, so they end up just stuffing it with all the roles, and werewolf is just not balanced around that, man. So don't hate the villager. The villager is actually quite powerful because you got your full mental bandwidth, and you're basically a throwaway. So you can do crazy things, you can do crazy tactics, catch werewolves out, have fun with it. You don't need to go, oh, I can't do anything at night, because you can do a lot more during the day. If you did enjoy this, subscribe to this channel. There'll be more Werewolf, Blood on the Clock Tower, and other social deduction games. Because if you subscribe, then you get to see more of that. And that's just how it works, mate.